Welcome on the Deadwood Jedi. This is going to be a Raid Shadow Legends video, and it's going to be a spooky spider challenge. This is a contest. I guess it's kind of a contest, kind of a just a fun community thing among the content creators that Plarium decided to put on, where we basically are trying to make a spider team that can go from stage 1 to as high as we can go. That's the idea here, but we can only use champions that were released during October throughout the history of the game. So the very select list of champions we can use. Now we can build them however we want, but the biggest restriction is we can't change any masteries, gear, or blessings until we die. At which point we need to do the run 3 times over to see what our best time is out of that. That's the rules. That's what's kind of happening here. So we're going to try and do this. I'm going to see what I can't do. I don't have all the champions that come through the holiday fusion, right? I have a lot of them. But not all the ones that have been released during this time period over the last 3 or 4 years. So, but I'm pretty happy with my team. Feel pretty good about it. So what I think we're gonna do, let me quickly show you who I'm bringing in, and you can see the total stats that I'm bringing in. We can probably show you the whole gear set of what I'm using here. But we'll start off with that, and then we'll jump in the run. Now, obviously, a lot of stages, right? We're like at least 20, maybe 25, maybe a couple more if I can get into hard difficulty as well. And some of the ones at the end are going to be a little bit long. So I'm going to do my best to try and, tighten this up as far as your viewer experience. We're, some of them are really fast. It'll be like 7 seconds. Some of them are going to be long, like 4 minutes. So obviously you don't want to see all that. The long ones I'll try and speed up. I'll maybe try to show a few different runs on screen at the same time. Maybe try to condense it a little bit. But regardless, we're going to play some music. We're going to have some fun. And we're going to try some new stuff. And this could be a pretty cool little challenge. So we're going to see how it is. And if my team does really well, I'm going to have rewards to give to you guys. So make sure to comment on this video with your UM number. And if we win, if we're one of the top teams, I'll be able to give some rewards to you guys. So that's the idea here. Anyway, who am I using? I've got Little Miss Annie is going to be my lead. Now, I'll be honest. In this, with the champions that are available, I don't have a ton of really strong damage dealers. There's, it's a pretty select group of champions that I can choose from here. And I'm missing some of them, right? Some big ones, right? Like I don't have Brackus. I don't have Morgan. Didn't actually end up fusing her. I don't have Constantine. I have Vlad, but not Constantine, which would be a nice little addition for some more AoE damage. I also don't have what's his name? Harvest Jack as well as another champion I'm missing. But I do have some of the other ones, and you can see the ones that I'm using here. So Little Miss Annie, primary idea, do a lot of damage. We're using Giant Slayer to get big hits on the boss. Now, she does a lot of single target damage as opposed to others that do AoE. That's a negative, but, we're going to see what we can't get out of that. We've got Michinaki. Now, he is in my Hydra build. I'm not changing it for this competition, so it is what it is, but I think he's pretty well built. He's got a couple AoE things. More importantly, it's Hex, which is going to help really annihilate the spiderlings, and that's going to be our goal here. I don't have any HP burn options, so that's not going to be a way to do this. So I'm just going to have to go straight damage. We also have Vlad. Vlad brings an AoE decreased defense, which is really nice as well. So hopefully between Michinaki and Vlad, we'll have decreased defense out enough to get some damage in there. Miscreated Monster obviously is going to be our protector, right? I've kind of messed around with his kit a little bit, got him some good speed, some good accuracy, and most importantly, good crit rate and crit damage. That's going to be really good. So I need those shields to be out, and I need them to be out the full time to make sure everybody's protected. That's going to be pretty clutch. We also have Lady Annabelle here. And she's going to be our speed champion, right? Not only is she going to be able to place decreased speed on the enemy, but increased speed on our team. That's going to be vital, as well as an AoE leech. Vlad's going to help with that too. But hopefully, that'll do a lot to keep us alive. The leech is going to be massive for us healing, but also, independent of that, the decreased speed will help make sure the spiderlings and the spider queen don't go too often. And the increased speed for us will make sure we take more turns. Again, we're trying to kill everything. So it's a bit of a challenge. We'll see how this goes. I wish I had a little bit more accuracy on her, and maybe that's something I'll go ahead and try and fix here. But that's the idea. We're gonna go in it and see what we can't do. All right, like I said, we're starting at stage 1 and we're going as far as we can go. So one of the things I want to do, because I'm gonna be skipping around, so you have an idea of how long this stupid thing is gonna take me, I've got a timer. So let's start the timer. We'll just leave this on so you'll be able to see, no matter what we cut, how long it's been taking. and we'll go ahead and jump in here. So let's start it off. Give myself a little 10-second decrease there in timing. But here we go. So you'll see initially in the early stages, it's real easy, right? Bring a couple AoE hits. It's simple, right? 7 seconds, not even a question as far as how hard that is, right? Stage 1, easy. Stage 2 should be much the same. I would imagine 3 and 4 aren't going to be that far behind. It's just about get some big hits out there and wipe them out. Yeah, you can see that. The one champion I wish I had for this competition, the only champion I think would make a significant difference in addition for this team, would be Brackus the Shifter. Why Brackus the Shifter? Well, because what he does is gives everybody an increased attack buff, and that would severely help his damage, right? The single target damage that I'm getting from Annie currently, but Brackus would be great for. And Vlad's damage would go up considerably. So that would definitely be somebody I would like to have here if I could. I think Morrigan would have been a really good choice, and maybe better than Annabelle. But I have to be honest, I don't like Annabelle. I think she's doing pretty good here for us. Not upset with what she's bringing to the table. Never used her before, and actually built her just for this, and I've been very happy with it. So she definitely brings a lot more to the table than I had first anticipated. But yeah, you can see the teams are working. We're climbing slowly but surely, and I would say being pretty effective in it. Obviously, affinities has an issue, and basically red affinity is our worst one. That's bad for Michinaki and for Miscreated Monster. Blue affinity is not great for Annabelle, but because it's solid for everybody else, that's fine. We can handle that. It's the red affinity that is the one that's going to be... I imagine if whatever stage we end up dying on will probably be a red affinity stage. So keep that in mind. One of the things I actually like about this team and the way it works is we're getting increased speed from Lady Annabelle. That's going to allow our champ to take more turns, but she also places decreased speed as an AoE. This is one of the spots where I kind of wish I had bumped her accuracy some, because I feel like by doing that guarantees that landing a little bit more, affinity notwithstanding. That said, very effective, and I'm surprised. I have her crit rate gloves with crit damage in some of her gear, but she hits surprisingly hard. I've been actually really impressed with the amount of damage she does as an AoE attacker, something I was not expecting in all honesty. She does have a nice little health swap ability that can kind of help keep champions that are about to die alive. And it kind of, puts the onus on her. But with the leech out there, it's a lot easier for our champions to heal up. And we're getting that not just from her, but also from Vlad. And I think that's really a nice bonus that he's bringing to this table with his AoE attacks. The big thing that Vlad brings, though, is decreased defense. And that's an absolute must, right? We want to do damage. That's going to make the shields for Miscreated Monster bigger. It's going to be the damage we get from Michinaki, from Vlad, from everybody, just a lot bigger. That's going to be really helpful. Michinaki obviously is bringing, not only decreased defense, but also Hex, which is a huge boost for him. And that's just absolute massive bonus for us. You'll notice everybody has War Master or Giant Slayer on them. As you're going to see, even though they're only doing like 30, 40, 50,000 damage on their individual hits, we're getting 100,000 every single time one of those, 100,000 or 100,000 plus every time one of those, what's it called, War Master Giant Slayer procs lands. That's a huge bonus for us. So that's one of the things that I definitely recommend. A lot of people, will say build your Miscreated Monster with Helm Smasher so that he can, land more and his shield becomes bigger. I still always say use War Master. I find it's more effective as far as actually taking the boss down fast enough. I also say build him with good crit rate and crit damage so you have big hits regardless, and I think it works pretty good. So yeah, I think we're hitting the point now where I don't want to show every individual run. I think that's the point where we're hitting right now. So as soon as this run hits, we'll try and do a little bit, a little bit of movie magic for you guys. Make it a little bit more interesting. Okay, this is stage 12. Starting from here, let's put a couple of these on the screen so we can kind of show a variety of teams at the same time. You don't have to just watch one. We'll try and get a quad thing going on behind me. And might take my face off this thing. Well, I don't know. But the whole idea here, right, is at this point, I'm trying to kill the spiderlings and deal damage to the Spider Queen. And for the early stages, this is 100% the approach, right? All the way up to, I would say, probably about stage 16 or 17. This is really the way you want to go about doing it. The boss doesn't have enough HP where max HP damage sources are really effective. So things like HP burn, poisons, max HP hitters, they're not going to be as effective until you get to stage 16, 17, 18. Up until then, the best approach generally, just kill the spiderlings. Kill the spiderlings and do raw damage to the spider queen, right? Turn meter manipulation is still big. Protection, whether that comes from shields or unkillable or block damage, or just revive and healing, even leech can be an effective way. That's all fine. That's all good ways to go about it. But as far as like the main ways to deal damage, it's just AoE damage, right? So this is where we talk about bringing in our starter champ. Becomes a really good approach, right? Because they usually have multiple AoE hits. They can be really effective. You can bring other AoE damage dealers on your teams. Those become really good things. Bring in AoE decreased defense, definitely helpful if you have it. And so that's kind of the approach you want for those earlier stages. But once you get into the late teens, then it starts to change because the boss has so much HP, and the spiderlings themselves have generally have more HP than you're able to like completely wipe out every single time through and do it so easily and efficiently. So at that point, that's really where we want to try and move into things like max HP damage, right? Champions like Coldheart, Royal Guard, Husk, those are the OGs. But of course we got new ones, right? Canute is a great one, the Nut. We've also got, Acrizia and Grazier, and there's others out there. Septimus comes to mind, right? At the same time, AoE HP burn is another amazing approach. Now, poisons, you can put poisons on the spiderlings, but the queen, I believe, is immune to them, so there's no real point using poisons. But HP burn is a fantastic approach. Maybe you can use poison on the spider queen. It's just not as effective a way, so it's just generally not an encouraged approach to it. But definitely what you want to do is HP burn, AoE, or you want to use the max HP hitting champions. Thankfully, there's a lot of AoE HP burn champions. That's really one of the things I like to do, whether we're talking about Mordecai, or we're talking about even like a Tyrant, like plenty of legendary champions that can do this. There's lots of them out there. And so that's generally what you're going to want to do, is focus on AoE HP burn or max HP champions, or both. They can both work really well. Because the other thing that you really want to focus on is turn meter reduction, right? You want to make sure, if you're using HP burn, you want the spider queen not to take a turn, but you want the spiderlings to take turns. So you're looking for single target turn meter decrease kind of champions, right? Lyssandra's great. Coldheart is actually one of the best for this. If you're using just max HP, you don't want anybody to take a turn. So AoE turn meter reduction can be really, really powerful in those cases. Even champions like Sylar can be extremely good for that. Now, once you pass stage 20, 21 to 25, max HP hits, they get capped, so not as effective. The HP burn's still great. That's definitely probably the best way to go about doing it. And the best times for stage 21 and above, before you hit the hard stages, all involve HP burn explosion champions like Sissia or Theodore, champions that will place HP burn AoE and then blow them all up at the same time. And if you can time that, maybe with a reset champion or something else, you can really, and some turn meter reduction, you can find ways to actually down the boss, even on stage 5, in like 30 seconds or less. I think the record's like 9 seconds or something ridiculous like that. But the higher you get, the more important it is to have champions with, things like AoE HP burn. That becomes pretty crucial, really. When you want to go past stage 20, that's kind of what you're looking at. Surprised it took us almost as long to get through stage 21 to 25 as it took us to get to stage 20, but we were effective. We did do it. Somehow we killed them all. That's great. Now we got to move on to hard. And this is gonna be a whole different kind of challenge. The boss has better resistance, better accuracy, better speed, I think is probably the most important thing. So how fast can we do this? That's going to be a question. Can we do it is going to be another question as well. Thankfully, I think this team is actually well designed to take out the Spider Queen here. It might even be a little bit easier than it was getting through to stage 25, to be honest, but Affinity is going to have a big impact on that, right? This is obviously the easiest for us, being a good affinity for every single one of our champions here at stage 1. We'll see how far we can get to. I don't know how far we've gone. There might be 4 stages up behind me. I don't know. The point is we're gonna see and pretty much go until we die. Uh-oh. I think we've hit our limit, guys. Miscreated monster went down, and I think that was it. Probably should have manualed a little bit to keep it going, but I think that's gonna be it for us here. We're not gonna have enough to survive. Yep, that's it. That's it. Death. I think, what do we get to stage 4? Stage 5? Stage 4. So we got through 3 stages of hard. Honestly, I feel like we could have done that one if I did it a little bit differently. I got Miscreated Monster the revive. That first hit just kind of put him out of commission. I don't know. Oh, well, that's disappointing. It does mean I get to go back to stage 3 and try and optimize it just a little bit. I don't really know what else I could do, though. Felt about as good as it's gonna get. So, not too shabby. Not too shabby. But yeah, there we go. There we go, guys. Stage 3, about 40 minutes to do this whole thing. You know, we're just going to do a bonus run. We're going to see if we can't beat it. I feel like this was on me a little bit, but let's see if we can't do it. Or if Miscreated Monster is just going to become, no matter what we do, how we approach it. All right, I think Lady Annabelle here. Yeah, so if I did this on Miscreated Monster, give him that revive on death, I think now all of a sudden I can go auto, and I think we'd have a better chance of actually surviving this and maybe going further. This just could have been a big mistake that I made. Can we get a big shield? Boom. Oh, maybe. See? Yeah, we could have done it. Could have done it. Gosh, darn it. Now I just wonder how far we could have gotten. But alas, we died already. All right, so now we get to go back to stage 3. And basically, I'm going to do 3 runs, and we're going to see which is the fastest run. I'll put my 4th run up there. I'll do my previous run, so we'll see which one does the fastest out of them. And yeah, that's probably going to do it. We'll see where we get to. It becomes a time trial at this point. All right, bid at 30. Looks like it's the best time that we've got here. I think pretty darn good. So there we go. That's the submission. Hopefully we win. Hopefully we win. Because if I do, you know, we get to give you guys some rewards. I think that'll be a lot of fun. So yeah, make sure to leave your UM number down below. I know it's a little bit of a long video, a little bit weird, right? But kind of a fun little experience. And hopefully I imparted a little bit of helpful knowledge for you guys along the way. But yeah, there you go. So, you know, Spider, this is an approach you can take. By the way, when you get to the hard levels, man, Hex is really valuable just to start killing the spiderlings. It's all about killing the spiderlings. You can do that, you'll be doing damage to the boss, and then it's just about survival. So those are like really the only 2 things you have to worry about. Kill the spiderling, don't worry about the boss. Kill the spiderlings and survive. If you can do that, you'll be in great shape. Obviously, I made a little bit of a mistake with the last dungeon. I'm a little annoyed because I wonder how far we could have gotten, you know? I'm like really curious how far we could have gotten, but you know, we'll have to leave that. We'll have to wonder about that later on. So anyway, guys, thanks so much for watching. Till next we meet, I'm the Deadwood Jedi.